The evening sky above the train station was the color of tired steel, streaked with the last traces of sunset. The neon sign that said train station buzzed to life, one letter at a time, casting a yellow glow on the wide stone steps. Commuters poured in and out of the tall doors, office workers with loosened ties, students with backpacks, travelers dragging scuffed suitcases behind them. Just to the side of the entrance, near a concrete pillar, an old man stood with his back slightly bent. His shirt, once cream-colored, had faded into something between gray and brown, and his pants hung loosely from his thin frame. In his trembling hand he held a small metal cup, its surface dull and scratched. "Spare change, just a little, please," he murmured, barely louder than the hum of traffic. Some people dropped coins without looking at his face. Others pretended not to hear, their eyes fixed on the station doors, their guilt buried under schedules and tiredness. A few slowed down, pity written plainly in their eyes, but walked on anyway. His name was Manuel Santos. Once, he had worked maintenance on these very tracks, tightening bolts, walking long stretches of rail at dawn to make sure trains ran safely. Once, he had carried his little boy on his shoulders to watch the engines roar past, proud of the uniform he wore. Time and life had a way of stripping things away. The job vanished in a wave of layoffs. His wife passed quietly in her sleep. His son rose quickly through the ranks of the police, moving from one city to another, the distance between them growing with every promotion. Pride and a stubborn unwillingness to burden his only child left Manuel alone, surviving on a small pension that never quite stretched far enough. Tonight, his pockets were light, his stomach empty, and hospital bills for an old heart condition lay unpaid in a drawer he rarely opened. So here he was, under the yellow lights of the station, asking for spare change he had once gladly given to others. A police SUV pulled up to the curb, red and blue lights flickering silently. Officer Carl Johnson stepped out, adjusting his belt, jaw clenched. He had just come from a call involving a loud argument on the platform, two drunk men shouting, one vomiting on his shoes. His patience was already thin, his temper rubbed raw. He noticed the cluster of people suddenly shifting around the old man, like water diverting around a rock. "Great," he muttered. "This guy again." The previous week, a local shop owner had complained about that old beggar scaring customers. Johnson had been told to keep the station area clean. To him, that meant no loiterers, no trouble, no one who made the place look less than perfect. He strode toward the pillar, boots striking hard against the pavement. "Hey, you! I told you last time, you can't be here." Manuel looked up, startled. His eyes were clouded with age, but they still held a quiet dignity. "Good evening, sir," he said softly. "I'm not blocking anyone. I will go soon. Did I ask for excuses?" Johnson cut him off. "You're begging at the station entrance. That's loitering. People complain. Do you understand complain?" A few passerbys slowed down, sensing tension. A young woman in a denim jacket stopped near the edge of the steps, watching, the strap of her bag clutched tightly in her fingers. A man in a green shirt took out his phone, hovering his thumb over the camera icon. Manuel shifted his weight, his hand tightening around the cup. He said, "I'm not hurting anyone, sir. I only ask. If they don't want to give, it's all right. I will move." "You'll move now," Johnson snapped. He grabbed the front of the old man's shirt with one hand and shoved. The force of it jolted through Manuel's chest. His feet slid on the smooth stone, and for a moment his legs simply couldn't keep up. The metal cup flew from his hand, clattering to the ground, coins scattering in a sad little ring. Manuel stumbled, arms flailing, almost falling to his knees. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. "Whoa, hey," someone whispered. "Is that necessary?" another muttered under their breath. But nobody stepped forward.
Johnson took another step, looming over the old man, voice rising. "I'm done being nice," he growled. "Next time I see you here, you're going in the car. You hear me? You bums think you can camp wherever you want. This isn't your living room." Manuel pressed a shaking hand to his chest, the place where his heart fluttered uneasily. Breath came a little harder. He bent slowly to retrieve his cup, fingers fumbling over the scattered coins. I'm sorry, sir," he whispered. "I won't stay. I'll go. My son wouldn't like this." Johnson scoffed. "Your son? What, you're gonna tell me you have some big-shot kid who's gonna come teach me a lesson? Yeah, sure. Was his name Superman?" The old man's lips moved, the name almost too soft to hear. Daniel Santos." The woman in the denim jacket frowned. The name tugged at something in her mind. A radio broadcast, a news headline, a poster near City Hall. Newly appointed Chief of Police, Daniel Santos, vows to clean up the city. Her eyes flickered from the shaking old man to the police SUV, where the department's emblem glinted. Her throat tightened. She took out her phone and hit record. Officer Johnson jabbed a finger toward the street. "Start walking," he ordered. "You have 5 seconds." Manuel straightened slowly, gathering what was left of his dignity along with his coins. His chest hurt. The station lights blurred around the edges. Still, he took a shuffling step away from the pillar, eyes burning, not from anger, but from the weight of humiliation pressing on his frail shoulders. Behind him, a man in a beard whispered to the woman in denim. "You got that?" he asked. "Yeah, I got everything." Minutes later, as Manuel disappeared down the sidewalk, hunched and wheezing, the small group of witnesses stood in a loose circle, the adrenaline of what they'd seen not quite fading. "We should send this somewhere," the bearded man said, nodding toward her phone. "To who? To Internal Affairs? To the station?" Her gaze drifted to the sign above the building, then to the badge on the side of the SUV, then back to the video, where the old man's face looked even fragile on screen. "To the one person who can't ignore it," she murmured. That night, in a quiet office several blocks away, Chief Daniel Santos sat behind a desk stacked with reports. The overhead light cast shadows in the lines of his face. He had just finished reading about a department review on use of force complaints, frustration building in his chest. Change never moved as fast as press conferences promised. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. "Chief, you need to see how one of your officers treated this old man at the station today. Please don't ignore this." Below it, a video file. Daniel hesitated, then pressed play. The station appeared on the screen, familiar and distant. The camera shook slightly as the holder raised it, but the important details were clear. The old man, the cup, the shove. The officer's barked words echoed through the small speakers. "You bums think you can camp wherever you want." Daniel's jaw tightened. He leaned closer, something uneasy stirring in his chest. The old man's profile, the line of his nose, the way he pressed a hand to his chest, it clawed at some deep memory. Then the man spoke, voice cracking. "My son wouldn't like this. Daniel Santos." The phone almost slipped from the chief's hand. He replayed the moment, hand shaking now for a different reason. The camera zoomed slightly, catching the old man's face full on as he bent to pick up his cup. The years and hardship had carved new lines, but the eyes were the same. "Tatai," Daniel whispered. For a long moment, the world compressed to just the glow of the screen. Guilt roared up in his ears. They hadn't seen each other in months, his schedule too full, his father too stubborn to bother him. Every time he offered to move the old man into his apartment, Tatay Manuel would laugh it off. "I'm fine," he'd say. "I have my friends. I have my bench by the station. Don't worry about me. Just do your job well."
And here he was, being shoved by the very uniform Daniel had sworn to honor. The chief's fist clenched against the desk. He hit a button on his intercom. "Get me the duty roster for the train station tonight," he said, voice low and tight. "And tell Internal Affairs to meet me in the conference room in 10 minutes. We have an incident." Within the hour, Officer Johnson sat in that conference room, confusion morphing into anxiety as he saw who was there. 2 IA investigators, the station commander, and at the head of the table, Chief Daniel Santos himself, eyes hard. "Officer Johnson," Daniel began, sliding a tablet across the table. "Watch this and tell me if there's anything you'd like to say before we talk." Johnson frowned, pressing play. As the video unfolded, color drained from his face. The familiar scene outside the station played out in painful clarity. His shove, his words, the old man's flinch. He squirmed as he heard himself mock the idea of the beggar having a son worth fearing. He looked up. "Chief, the angle makes it look worse. He was obstructing the entrance. People complain. I was just doing crowd control." "Crowd control," Daniel repeated, his voice icy. "That old man weighs as much as your gear belt. He was sitting quietly, not harassing anyone. Did you offer assistance? Call a shelter? Ask if he needed medical help?" "He was just another drunk vagrant. They lie all the time." "Say that again," Daniel snapped, his composure cracking for the first time. "Say that about him again, after watching the way he clutched his chest." Silence. The chief took a slow breath, forcing his voice back down. "The man you shoved is named Manuel Santos. He is a retired railway worker. He has a heart condition, and he is my father." Johnson's mouth fell open. "Chief, I didn't know." "That's exactly my point. You didn't know, so you assumed he was worthless. You didn't know, so you treated him like trash in front of the people we're supposed to protect. If he had been any other elderly man, your behavior would still be unacceptable." He tapped the screen, freezing the frame where Manuel flinched. "This isn't just about him being my father. This is about the culture you think you can get away with. Intimidation, humiliation, force as your first language." Johnson swallowed hard. "Sir, if I'd known..." "You are suspended, effective immediately," Daniel said, his voice suddenly very calm. "While IA investigates, I'll be reviewing every complaint ever filed against you at that station. If this video is part of a pattern, you won't just lose your badge, you may face charges." He leaned forward, eyes burning. "You want to wear this uniform? You learn that authority is not a shield for your temper, because if you use it to hurt the weak, then yes, your career will end in disgrace." After the meeting, alone in his office, Daniel sat for a long time, staring at the city lights flickering on outside. The ache in his chest wasn't anger anymore. It was shame. Shame that his father had been reduced to a trembling figure with a cup. Shame that it had taken a stranger's video for him to see what was happening on his own doorstep. He found Tatay Manuel 2 hours later, sitting on a bench near the station entrance, cup empty in his hands, shoulders slumped with exhaustion. "Pa," Daniel said quietly. The old man looked up, blinking. Recognition softened his face. "Danny, you're busy. Why are you here?" "Because I should have been here sooner. Because I just watched one of my men shove my father, and I can't pretend the problem is only him." Manuel's weathered hand lifted, resting on his son's cheek. "I'm all right. I've lived through worse. Don't be angry for me." "I'm not just angry for you. I'm angry for everyone who doesn't have a chief of police for a son. For the ones who get pushed and don't get videos. For the ones who think no one will listen." In the weeks that followed, the video of the shove, now officially released as part of a transparency initiative, sparked public debate. Some defended the officer, saying he looked stressed. Many more saw what Daniel saw, the casual cruelty of unchecked authority. Mandatory training on de-escalation and treatment of vulnerable people was implemented, not as a press release, but as a personal promise from a son who'd watched his own father shoved like a nuisance. Complaints procedures were simplified. Posters went up in stations. "If you feel abused by an officer, you have the right to report. Your voice matters." And every evening, as commuters streamed past the train station, they saw a new sight. Chief Daniel Santos walking slowly with an elderly man on his arm, guiding him away from the cold stone steps. Eventually, Manuel agreed to move in with him. He teased, "Not because I'm weak, but because your cooking is terrible without me." People recognized them now. Some nodded respectfully. A few whispered, "That's the chief and his father, the one from the video." But the old man didn't crave their pity. What mattered to him was the way his son now looked at every stranger on the street, as if they might be somebody's beloved parent, somebody's forgotten hero. Because sometimes it takes injustice landing at our own doorstep to finally hear the cries we've been walking past for years. And the real question for anyone in power becomes, will you only care when it's your family, your name, or will you fight abuse wherever you see it, whether the victim is known or nameless, important or invisible?